Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Freeform Network. Send in your questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. But again, for Freeform Radio, I'm one of your hosts. My name is Daniel. With me today is Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. Hope you're doing well.
And we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy. I'm glad to be on, and let's get this rolling, man.
Heck yeah, man. How'd you like that intro, man? I lost the webpage that I had the intro on, so I had to wing it like from memory. That wasn't too bad, right?
After all these years, you think it'd be like plastered in your brain.
Right. Well,
I feel like you missed a couple sentences there.
I think so. I think I might have missed a quotation or exclamation mark somewhere, but we'll get this podcast rolling, Andy. And let's start off with you, man. It looks like you've been off a little bit with some sickness, down with the sickness, some disturb. And fill us in on how you've been doing, man.
Well, I wasn't here the last episode, and I just feel like everyone around my life is sick. I mean, it started like a month ago. My kid had like a bad cold, the kid, runny nose, coughing and all that, and then he got better, and then my wife got sick, and then she's been battling something, seems like a month plus. She got better for a while, and then she just has a cough that hasn't gone away, and then now the kid got sick. I mean, it got so bad we had to take him to the doctor. We had to go to the ER, and we were dealing with that. He was in there for observation like all day. Wow, it seems like 2 weeks ago now. So yeah, we were there all day Saturday, and then they're like, he's cool, he can go home. They give him some stuff, and then now it's like my wife had a procedure done this week, and now she worked on this week after the procedure. My mom came over yesterday to help around the house because she can't really do stuff, and she started getting congestion, and the cough went from like once in a while to like constant, and it's just a mess, man. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, and then it seems like everyone, like people at work are sick. People everywhere you go, people are like, well, I've noticed people are wearing more masks. I don't know if it's because they're sick or they don't want to get sick, So that's like the whole thing right now, and I feel like it's just like this thing. It's not the flu, maybe it is. I don't know. Just like it lingers more than years past since past the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, I know. I just got out of church and came over here, and man, since the sermon is going on, it's kind of quietish other than him talking, and you could just hear cough here, cough there, cough over there, cough over here, and I'm like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely the cold season, the flu season. And yesterday, my wife got a call from her grandma that her grandma wasn't feeling too well, and that possibly she wasn't going to have Thanksgiving over at her house because she wasn't feeling good. So yeah, man, something's going around for sure.
That's rough, dude.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We want to when this episode is dropping before Thanksgiving, we want to wish everybody Thanksgiving. And I know with my wife's procedure, we usually go to my mom's house for Thanksgiving, but we're not going this year. And then plus with her being sick, and then yesterday my mother-in-law called, and she didn't sound too great. It sounds like she's getting sick, and then so might just gonna do like a quick in and out across with the in-laws to grab some food and just come back. But I don't know. I mean, I just at this point, with everyone being under the weather, it's just it's pretty it's just it's tiresome, I guess, and everybody's like vaccinated up or whatever the hell's going on, and just I feel like more people are sick. I mean, people don't care generally now. I feel like maybe during the pandemic people be more panicking, but people are just like, oh, you're sick, just stay away from me, They just go turn the other way.
Yeah, I do kind of feel that it's not, um, like I'm gonna die kind of thing, and it's more just like back to what you would call normal, where people get sick, you just take care of yourself for a few days, and then you're back on, back on the up. But yeah, I definitely still kind of worry about it, just because I'm diabetic, and I don't want to have any kind of complications or deal with anything. But yeah, definitely the fear that we used to have about 5 years ago, it seems definitely less.
Yeah, I think part of that isn't due to like the social media and the politicians and the news media not talking about it consistently every single second of every day. Whereas around 2021, up to around 2021, 2022, that's all we would hear about every single day. There was literally a counter counting the COVID cases, just reminding you every second in case you forgot, in case you got back to normal life. It's like, oh, here it is, just so you can get scared again. So I feel like, yeah, we are moving past it now, and people aren't paying as much attention to it. And I think partly too, though, is it's a double-edged sword because with people not worrying about it as much, they might go back into their bad habits, maybe a bad lifestyle, bad diet, poor sleep, hygiene, and stuff like that. So around this time of year, people usually get hungrier. It starts to get colder, and we start craving all these snacks. And then Thanksgiving's around the corner, so we start getting hungry for all this stuff that we shouldn't really be eating.
So when you say hygiene, Noel, something popped in my head because in Hispanic culture, they say if you're sick, you shouldn't shower.
Oh wow.
So I don't know. You never heard that before?
No, I
If you're like got a bad cold or flu, uh, my mom said to shower, but I know some of my uncles and said that you shouldn't do that because you're just gonna get more sick because you got the wet hair and shit.
I mean, I get that if I was going outside in the cold, but I think the vapor of like the shower and all that, that'll probably help decongest a little bit.
Yes, a big time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
more I was saying sleep hygiene, like specifically people don't sleep that much. It's like 4 hours, 5 hours, and then with the daylight savings BS, like it messed up everybody's circadian rhythm, and I think that's
Oh,
when a lot of people got sick.
Oh,
I noticed it.
yes. Holy moly, man. Here,
I
you're
Yeah.
you're you're an anti daylight savings guy?
You
Jesus.
know, honestly, I don't care one way or the other. I just don't like to switch. Like whichever way they want to do it, fuck it, man. Let's do it. Just keep it. And that's it. Like that's what it is forever until history ends. Like cuz this back and forth stuff is not good on the heart, it's not good on the body. There's higher incidence of heart attacks, strokes and all sorts of stuff, dude. And
Holy
it's
shit.
yeah, you look into it, man. I'm serious. It happens and that it's because people's circadian rhythms are thrown off and we're like behind and our body's like what the heck's going on. Normally you're asleep at this time, now you're awake an extra hour. It throws the body off whack, and I felt it, man. Even though it's subtle, I felt it, and I'm just
I,
like I'm waking up at 5 in the morning and
I
I'm like
think you're right because my son's sleeping. I mean, he sleeps. He takes a nap. His nap usually goes from like an hour to two, and then he usually his sleep schedule. He'll go to bed between 6 and 7, and he'll do that ever since the time thing. He got sick, right? But if you play with him like all day, and then he'll get real tired. Like yesterday, he went to sleep at 3. Dude, he slept for 6 hours. And then he woke up. I was telling my wife, like, what do we do? And she's like, just let him sleep. That's 3 times he's done that to us. He woke up around 9:30ish, 10. He ate dinner kind of late, and then we stayed up. I stayed up with him in an hour, and then he got sleepy and went back to sleep, and then he woke up at 10. And that's all after daylight saving time. The other day, he was the same thing. My mom came over. She was playing with him all afternoon. He went to bed at he fell asleep like around 4. He didn't wake up till midnight. We gave him a bottle, kind of like rocked him to bed. Then he went back to sleep. Then didn't wake up till his normal time, like 7 o'clock. And
wow.
and I'm just like, I don't know if this is normal or like something's not right. His schedule's thrown off. So I don't know. It's weird, and I think it might be part of that daylight savings crap.
Hell no, man. I'm still rocking over here, man. I'm young, man. I just go to sleep when I want to, wake up when I want to. But
Must be nice.
I guess in all fairness, I did have trouble adjusting. I had a couple of nights where I had to take some sleeping pills just so that I would be able to knock
Oh
out and
man,
and sleep.
what do you
But
take? Can I ask you real quick? What do you take
I
when you want to sleep? Do you take like some melatonin stuff?
I would say Tylenol PM, but I don't buy Tylenol. I buy the generic knockoff. So whatever the Walmart brand is or the Walgreens brand
The Great
is,
Value.
yeah,
You know,
Tylenol PM, and it usually works. I don't
Yeah.
do it all the time. I just do it like maybe once a week to just get my clock back in order. And I did it Friday night and last night. And dude, I feel a whole lot better because on Friday I felt like I was sleepwalking almost, like I was still kind of trying to get into the rhythm.
you know what I would recommend, and what I do personally, I do the three. I do zinc, magnesium, and melatonin, and that will lower your heart rate. Your magnesium helps you calm down, lowers your heart rate. Zinc helps you get into deeper sleep, and melatonin helps you stay asleep as well. So I do recommend those, and there's like little to absolutely no side effects. It's natural stuff.
I think
So,
that's the Michael Jackson thing that did him in, bro.
oh jeez.
Like
No,
that
I think
milk
that
magnesia or some shit.
no, I think that was something different. But I used to do the melatonin too, but I felt like I started getting a tolerance, kind of like a drunk.
Yes,
You can't
that
get
happened to
drunk with
me.
beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, do I got to start snorting this stuff? What the heck's going on? I'm like, I'm not getting the feeling of it anymore. So I'm like, I don't know what else to do to get melatonin to hit me the way it used to. But yeah, when I would take it initially, it would work like the Tylenol PM. And I think it's that you can't take it all the time because, like I mentioned, the Tylenol PM, I probably won't take one for like another 3 weeks or a month before I'll feel kind
Oh,
of
so
sluggish, or
you take
I'm
it
not feeling
monthly, basically.
about, like if I have like 2 or 3 days where I wake up an hour earlier than I usually, or I go to sleep late, or like my rhythm is kind of off, then I'll tell Alana, I'll give her the I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take a PM medicine tonight because I knock out, man. I don't feel anything. Yeah, I don't know, man. Somebody could be breaking into the house and I probably won't hear it because I'm out.
That's why
And
you got a dog, man.
yeah, for sure. No, that's why we got the dog ring and all the other good stuff. But yeah, I don't take it too frequently. I would say probably the last time I took it was maybe about 3 weeks ago or a month.
Yeah, there was a period I was taking sleeping pills, and
Because they are bad for you.
yes, I took. I was taking maybe one a week. Like I would pick a day to get like really good sleep. Like the first 2 week, 3 weeks, it was great, and then like after that, it stopped kind of working. So I take them like when I really want to sleep. Like I'll take a pill and get like a nice 8 9 hours of sleep, and but I haven't taken them in a while. I mean, I fall asleep relatively easy, but sometimes I like wake up a lot, and that was my issue. But for a while I couldn't really sleep really good. But the melatonin, yeah, that let me sleep through night. But then I would wake up like droggy and shit. Like it wasn't what that was like the issue. It wasn't just like it wasn't like I felt like half drunk or something. I don't know. It was like real drogginess.
Right, right.
That's what
No,
I didn't
I
like
agree
about it.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, going back, yeah, I mean, with the sickness, everybody like Noel's talking about, you need a good sleep. I think to me, it's a big part of it. Like you read like stuff about successful people and they only sleep like 3 4 hours at a night, and like because to them like sleeping is like it's overrated. Like you don't need it, but I don't know. I mean, to me at this age, uh, I need it, man, because sometimes uh, you just need it at this age. And then like I had a doctor's visit recently. One of the things he told me, he's like, I need to stop drinking coffee. I just drink coffee black, and I was kind of shocked by that. But I don't know if I could do that. I quit pop, but I don't know if I could quit coffee because I need
Now,
caffeine.
now, did he
How,
say all coffee or just
Yeah,
like as much
he
as
told
you're
me
drinking? Because you drink a lot of coffee.
I told him I usually drink about 4 cups in the morning, and
there,
after that
that's
I'm
that's the
done.
problem, man.
That's a
That's
lot.
the problem.
He's like, "What do you
Yeah.
put in your coffee?" I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "Oh, you don't put creams or sugars or anything?" I'm like, "No, I don't do any of that shit." Well, yeah, I would stop drinking coffee. And he just goes, I'm like, And then he's like, "You drink pop?" I'm like, "No, I haven't drank pop in like years. That's my only caffeine." He goes, "Yeah, you need to stop drinking coffee. Drink decaf." I'm like, "What the fuck decaf gonna do, bro? Like, fuck that."
Maybe he has stock in Splenda or something, and he's just like, man, this guy's not raising my stocks. I might as well get him to quit.
Well, yeah, that's
Man.
like so I'm trying to drink 1 cup a day. Um, and like yeah, the other day I didn't drink one in the morning just to see what I had fucking a headache by like the late afternoon.
Yeah, that shit's real caffeine withdrawal.
Yeah.
Hmm. You know what I would recommend? What I do personally, I do because I was told to do the same. I was told to cut back on coffee because I would do essentially, yeah, like 3 cups, and then I would still have some caffeine drinks throughout the day, but it would be lower caffeine. But anyway, now I do 1 cup of coffee and some coconut oil in there because the coconut oil is healthy fats, and your body uses it like immediately. So that coffee plus the coconut oil, it gives it a good flavor, plus it gives you that energy that you're not getting from the extra cups you would normally drink.
Yeah, man, like I said, it's I gotta find some alternative. Maybe it's drinking teas, but I'm not crazy about it.
Hell yeah, some Earl Grey, man, Picard style.
That's why I don't want to drink it because Picard, he got taken over by the Borg for a while, and Data couldn't help him.
Right.
Um, but let me know what you guys think. All my coffee drinkers out there, what do you recommend, or what do you guys do at ffnquestions@gmail.com. Um, but let's get this keep it going here. Noel, I think you watched. I don't know. I didn't even know they. I don't know if this is an old movie, Tales from the Crypt. Is this the 80s or 90s movie, or they made one recently?
So no, this is back in '95,
Yeah,
so
okay.
almost 30
Wasn't
years ago.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old one, man. But I remember watching it as a kid, and I recently saw it again now, just this year. So it's called Demon Knight, and it has many like popular character actors.
Yes.
It's got Billy Zane. He was in Titanic. He's a Chicago native. It's got one of the guys from Shawshank Redemption. It's got an actress named CCH Pounder. She was in RoboCop. She was in a bunch of stuff. It's got a lot of actresses. Jada Pinkett before The Smith came on there. Jada Pinkett was in it.
Nice.
Um,
Isn't
yeah, it's
Dennis Miller in it?
Dennis
A
Miller.
comedian from SNL.
Possibly. I think I know who you're talking about. Is he Jewish by chance?
I don't know. I mean, I just know he did Weekend Update on SNL, and then he left.
And he thought he was funny doing sportscasting.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, he was on Monday Night Football. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that guy.
I had to look him up. I can't recall. Like, there's a lot of famous people in there though, for sure. And it's actually a really decent movie, man. I was surprised, how it holds up, even though it's almost 30 years old. The special effects was still a thing around that time period, so it wasn't like it had minor CG, but most of it was actual practical effects with like makeup
Nice.
and like actual, real good effects. It has a bunch of like demons and stuff, and I call it had one of the keys in his possession, and he used the blood of Christ to put in this amulet key, whatever you want to call it, and it essentially protected them from demons and protected them from evil, and it kept them alive for like a long, long time, like about 100 years or more. So it gets passed down generation to generation kind of thing, where there's like a new successor to the protector of this amulet, essentially good versus evil kind of thing. And so Billy Zane plays a demon that's hunting down one of the guys that was in Shawshank Redemption, and he's one of the protectors of this key that's full of with the blood of Christ and the blood of other successors, because it still has some of his blood in there, but as they use it, because you can actually use it to protect yourself against a demon, like the blood is like poisonous to them, so sometimes they'll use it in defense, and if it runs out, you can replenish it with either your own blood or the blood of a successor. And so anyway, I'm not going to give the whole story away, but Billy Zane is chasing down this guy. He goes to this hotel, and yeah, like there's just a bunch of just killing and just blood, guts, gore, everything you'd want in a horror movie. It's got some funny moments in it. It's definitely worth a watch. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. And that's like just an objective score, not just for horror, but just in general. I thought it was worthy of watching. Most anybody would probably enjoy it. It's interesting.
So, real quick, going back to Dennis Miller, he was in a Tales from a Crypt movie. It was a Bordello of Blood, which came out in '96.
I know who you're talking about now. Yeah. No.
That guy, yes.
No, yeah. I honestly I didn't like Bordello Blood that much, but yeah, that was the sequel to this. Well, not a
Yeah,
sequel, but it's
it
the second
was
movie.
the next version or whatever with different characters, but from the Crypt Keeper comes out or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's his name? Sam Kassir?
yeah,
Yeah. In the start of the movie, he comes out and he's like a director for a movie, and so he starts complaining about the actors being bad. It's funny, man. I can't explain it, but you have to watch it, and it's pretty funny seeing him. And it's been so long, dude, since I've seen the show, so it's kind of like a nostalgia. Just
yeah. The show was awesome.
yeah, man. If they should bring it back, especially because he's still alive, he can still do it, and he doesn't even matter how old he is because it's essentially a like a puppet type of thing. So
Right. I always enjoyed Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
yeah,
the show had a lot of cameos and it had a lot of big actors. I think Schwarzenegger did an episode, and
yeah,
there was like a lot of them. But yeah, in the I know they did the movies. I just remember the movie. That's why I said, like, is this the one with Dennis Miller when he did like Billy Zane? Like, I don't remember that fucking movie, but I remember like Dennis Miller did one. I thought, and I was pretty sure that's why it was Bordello of Blood. So, but
yeah.
yeah, it's been so long since I've seen any of that stuff.
It's pretty good though. But Bordello Blood, I'll probably get around to watching it next. But I was going in the order, and I heard there's a third one. I can't remember the name of it, but heard there's a third movie that came out a little more recently. I don't know if it's called Tales of the Crypt, but I think it's based on it somehow. But
Let me see.
yeah, I mean, I always try to keep up on horror stuff and try to fit in like a horror movie here and there. And so that was the one that I watched just this weekend. So definitely recommend it to anybody that likes Tales from the Crypt or just wants, some kind of easy movie to watch that's, got a lot of like horror elements into it and some good, really quality special effects, man. I was shocked.
Yeah, Noel came out in 2002. It's called Ritual.
There we go. Yep. Yeah. I got to watch that one too. So that'll be the third one I see and I'll let you guys know. But
Nice.
the next thing I was going to say is these movies that I'm going to watch, I'm hoping, I'm planning on it, but I'm not 100% sure I'm going to bite, is on getting a new TV, a Samsung OLED. And yeah, they're pricey. For the new ones, they're really pricey, man. And I was on the fence as to whether to get the last year's model. So there, it's called Samsung S95, and then last year's model was S95, B as in boy, and then this year's is S95C, C as in Charlie. So there's different sizes for the C. There's a 65-inch and a 77-inch, and then the S95B, the biggest one was 65. So the S95B for last year's is around maybe 1400, 1500, which is like affordable for like a high-end OLED TV. But supposedly there's some drawbacks to it that they worked out on the C model, the newest model this year's. So now I'm like, man, debating, do I spend an extra, essentially almost an extra $1,000 to get the newer model but that'll have more longevity because OLEDs. I don't know how much you guys know about OLEDs. I'm not like well versed at it, but I know a couple of things about it, and they're prone to burn-in, which is like if you watch a static image for long enough, when you change the channel or change the image, it'll show like a shadowy image of that. It'll like burn on there. So if you're playing a game that has like a like an icon that's always on the top right or whatever it is, and you play enough for like weeks, months, years, whatever, it might burn in and keep staying there regardless if you change what you're watching.
I
So
thought that
my
was more of a plasma thing. LEDs are having that problem now.
So because this is not your typical LED, this is OLED, and this is quantum dot on top of that. This is Samsung's quantum dot OLED, which is it's like it gets really technical. Like I said, I'm not super well versed on everything, but it is prone to burn in, similar to the plasmas. The S95B was more likely to burn in than the S95C. And so that's why I'm like, you know what, man, let me just get the S95C. And then the question is, do I get the 65 or 77? And then I looked at the price of the 77. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get the 65. The 77, bro, 4 grand, all in. And I'm like, no
Mm.
way can I justify 4 grand for a TV, dude. There's no way I can do that. Maybe if I was rich, right? Like if I just had money to just fucking take a dump on. But no, I'm not like in that. Uh, I'm not in that boat yet. I'm not
Was
in that
last
yacht.
year? Yeah, for sure. Was last year's model 120 hertz? Is it?
Yes,
Oh man, I
yes,
I think that's to me for my next TV. That's probably going to be my minimum requirement. 120 hertz,
yeah.
4K obviously, and I think if I get those two things, I think I'd be pretty happy.
Exactly, man.
I
It's
still
got
have an LCD, man.
no way for real. LCD,
Yeah,
not even LED.
it's, it's 46. Yeah,
Dang, how's it running?
it's still running. I mean, other than my kid keep touching the damn screen, it's running.
Yeah,
The
that's
speakers
why,
are
man.
like fucking. I mean, I got a soundbar, but the speakers, uh, they went from like bad to worse. You can't hear shit out of them anymore.
Ah, man, that's a bummer. You got the
The
sound bar
soundbar,
though.
yeah, the soundbar makes up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Samsung I have now is just a standard 4K and it's 60 hertz. It's not 120. So for sure on the OLED, I'm like, let me get that 120. It's got better HDR. It's got better colors, more vibrancy. And I don't know if you know about OLEDs, but the difference between a regular 4K and an OLED is that the OLEDs are every individual pixel lights up with its own color. Like it's got its own color and like brightness to it so that when it's like a dark scene, the pixels literally turn off, so it looks like literal black, like true black, not this like grayish, you know what I mean? Because like in like the TV I have right now, I'm looking at some parts on my computer and that it's supposed to be black and it's got kind of like a backlight to it, so it's kind of like a blackish gray, if you know what I mean. It's like a really dark gray. And so because of that, the OLED is going to look very, very good. It's going to pop much better. The contrast ratio is nearly infinite because of that. So, um, I'm thinking I'm going to go with a 65 inch, which is more affordable. It's like a 2400. But the good thing is, I've been accumulating rewards on these cards that I got. I got like 500 bucks rewards, so it's really only gonna run me about two grand or so for the TV. And I've been setting aside money for over a year, and I'm like, man, maybe it's time to, but get this for Black Friday.
Right. How old is the one you currently have?
I want to say 3 years. I think I got it in 2020.
Give
I
it
got
10
it
bucks for it.
like it was a deal, dude. I got it for 600 bucks, bro.
Nice,
65
man.
inch 4K.
Yeah, that's a nice TV.
It's nice, man. I have no complaints with it. But I feel like it's time to upgrade. And supposedly the upconvert is even better on these newer TVs. So you could watch like an older DVD and it'll look like a Blu-ray with these newer TVs. So I'm excited for some of that because there's some stuff that unfortunately did not release in Blu-ray, only available in DVD, and like some older like digital stuff that I got. So I'm gonna test that and try it out. And Andy, like back to your point, just to wrap it up here, when you were talking about your like how your kid will touch the TV and stuff, I have my niece and nephew come over sometimes and they'll also touch my TV, and I'm like, this one, I'm gonna protect it, man, with everything I got. So
Believe me, dude.
I'm gonna mount that shit high, dude.
I tell my kid no, no, and then like he walks over to it, and then he's putting his hand on, and then he looks at me. I'm like, no, and then like he's staring at me. I'm like, and then he'll just turn around and walk away. Like I got him to
Yes,
slow down. But yeah, my wife's like, you need to hang this like fucking 20 feet in the air. I'm like, I ain't fucking hanging up nothing. Like this kid ain't gonna, he ain't gonna touch shit. And then so he moved on to my little DVD rack. He keeps pulling shit out of there, and that's a whole nother battle. But yeah, but I got him to stop touching the TV. Well, at least when I'm around. My wife, when he could get away with murder with my wife. So
Nah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's how kids are, dude. It's how kids are,
yeah,
man. But gotta love them, of
yeah,
course.
exactly, man. We wouldn't have it
Um,
any other way.
exactly, man. But so yeah, let's move on to Daniel, man. That's pretty much all I got. And Daniel, looks like you've been dealing with some noisy people in your life. Well, what's going on here?
Yeah, I went just the other day to get an oil change done on my car, and then some other service that I needed. But while I'm there, I was really surprised because now everybody has cell phones. So because everybody has cell phone, everybody is playing a video, watching some TikTok, doing something on their phone, and it's causing noise. And I'm just like, I can't believe how much people have disregard for other people around them. I took my earbuds because I knew I'm like I'm gonna be there for an hour or two. I'm gonna take my earbuds, pop them in, listen to some stuff or watch a video. But it's me. I'm in my zone there with my earbuds. But everybody else, they're just like, I don't care if the guy's sitting next to me. I'm gonna blast some hip hop. This other lady blasting her country shit. There was just some other lady watching like funny TikTok videos, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? I almost felt like, should I play something like heinous, really loud, and like bring it to the attention so they could be like, oh, look at this asshole. What the hell's he playing? It's just like, where's the limit and where's like the line in the sand where they would be like, yeah, this isn't acceptable. So
Like
I
putting
just
like
found it,
death metal on there?
yeah, or I I don't watch pornos, but put something on and
Allegedly.
be like, allegedly,
Yeah.
I'm like, but put something on and just be like, yeah, I'm just doing me over here, you just like you guys are doing your stuff. Like, where is it where they feel it's acceptable what they're watching? And I just found it
I
really
think people like me and you, Dan, and maybe Noel, we're out of that loop because that is the new normal. When my sister worked retail, like right before the pandemic, she would tell me like there's just people walking around the store FaceTiming, talking really loud, watching videos, playing music. Like the new thing now I see more is people just playing music when they're walking around. They don't have
right.
they don't have the earbuds, and but this was going on before the pandemic. It's been what, 3 years now, 4 years maybe. So yeah, I mean I think that's the new norm. I don't think it's gonna go back uh,
Yeah, I've seen
to
people like you're saying with even Bluetooth speakers hanging
yeah,
off of them
yeah.
so they could
That's I
be
seen that
playing the
too.
music.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Is it the equivalent of somebody walking down the street with a boombox on his shoulder? I'm like, what the hell's going on with these people, man? I don't understand. I I get it. I like playing music. I like playing the music that I like, but I'm conscious to the people around me. I try to be respectful to that. Not everybody wants to listen to the stuff that I want to listen to. But I don't know, man. I think it is just a part of society that we're just gonna have to get used to. I understand everybody's got their cell phone, but I don't know, man. I guess it's just something I'm just gonna have to get used to. I don't, these new
I
kids.
relate, man. I actually went. I had a similar experience to you. I just recently I went to Hyundai to get my coolant changed, flushed. And when I was there, I was literally just me and another person, really quiet, really chill. And then this lady comes in, and she starts having like a phone conversation, pretty loud. Like I can hear everything she's saying. She's like right by me, and she's talking about like some personal stuff, dude. Like some people cheating and sex and all this. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's going on here? Like what? And so I put my earbuds in. I'm like, I don't want to hear all this shit. And thankfully I ended up getting picked up because it was gonna take longer than I thought. So I didn't have to stick around. But I can only imagine, dude. You're there a couple hours. Jeez, dude, that's be rough.
Right, right. I that's the other one, like Andy had mentioned, and you said a lot of people in phone call conversations, they're like FaceTiming, and so it's like you have to have it on speaker because it's not, or unless you got earbuds, but you got to have it on speaker so then everybody's got to listen. It's not something that you can put up to your ear where at least I'm only hearing your response, your retort to people's conversations. Now I got to hear
Shit,
both sides of the.
retort.
I got to hear
I have
both
to
sides. I got to hear both sides of the conversation because it's on speaker. So I don't know, man. I guess it's just something I'm gonna have to get used to because I don't think it's anything we can correct. It's just gonna be a part of our
It's just
society
gonna
now.
get worse. Isn't gonna be some new technology. And it's just gonna get worse, man.
For sure, for sure. But another thing, Andy, to test you and see if you know, do you know how to drive on a roundabout, man?
Yeah.
In these last few weeks, I've had to drive through like three of them, and I usually don't encounter them too much. But after like the third one, I was just like, I gotta Google this thing because even though I've had a driver's license forever, I couldn't remember how do you use these things? What are the rule sets? What can you do? What can't you do? Do you know how to, Andy? It looks like Andy knows. Do you know, Noel, the quick rules for it?
You know, if I remember correctly, I could have sworn you need to do a full circle before you can exit to where you want to exit to. Um, because
Well,
isn't it like four entrances or
It's
four
three. It's
exits?
usually
Three?
three.
yeah, there's
Okay.
a, well, I've seen some diagrams where it shows like six, depending on how
Oh,
crazy the intersection is. But the ones that I were using was just a usual cross intersection. So there's, you could go to three other spots from your original. But I guess the quick rules, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but the driver coming into the circle needs to yield if somebody's
Mm-hmm.
going through the circle. But as
Yes.
soon as you're in the circle, everybody else has to yield for you going in circle. So you come into the circle. If there's no other cars, you can proceed into the circle. And then as you're going around, you just exit out the direction you go or want to go. And I guess the whole point is that you slow down, but you never stop and it
It's
keeps
like a
traffic
yield.
flowing.
Yeah, you
Right.
keep the flow going. So up here where I live now, like northern Illinois, there was a lot of construction the last couple years, and they finished a couple things, and they installed the three runabouts. And I see, like, I don't know if it's like a northern Illinois thing now. I seen them farther north you go.
Right.
I seen them too,
Because I don't see
like
these in
in
the
the
hood where
hills
I
and
used,
all
yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think they're gonna be built in the major cities, but it's more of a suburban thing. But they're not as big as like the ones in Europe. Usually it's a one lane, so you got cars coming, circling to go back on the road. But it's three entrance exit things. One to go straight, one to come in, and one to go out. But yeah, it's two streets come into it, but it has three exits, which is weird. But yeah, and then it was interesting at first. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And then some people, even though it says yield, they don't know. You can see they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They just do complete stops, but it's not a high traffic area, so people ain't getting fucking rear-ended. But yeah, it is out here. I've seen they made three brand new ones within Cary, Carpentersville, and I think in Algonquin. I think I saw another one if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we were driving further up north. We were past Volo and we were going a little more north. And I ran across two of them on one day. And
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, man, I better learn up about this. Because I figured if I yield and stop for everything, I'd be safe, at least until I figure out the rule set so I can know how to drive it properly. And now this last time that I drove through one, it was a lot easier and I didn't have as much problem. And I'd be curious the statistics of, does it prevent accidents? Does it prevent, I know it prevents congestion because it's constant moving traffic, but it just seemed really weird. Just something that you don't see all the time, or at least not for me, for
Not in the
sure.
United States. I mean, it's big in Europe,
Right,
but
right.
here, I don't think we did. But now you're starting to see it. I think it's just to have like a flow of traffic to not to have traffic stopped. But I mean, the areas where I saw them is not high traffic areas.
Yeah, for sure. So, hope everybody out there knows how to drive them. I know how to drive them now, so So hopefully no problems going forward. Some of the quick things that I did, I rewatched Donnie Brasco, man. This is one that me and you, Andy, we went to go see at the theaters. You remember this one?
Yeah, I rewatched it during the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me and Alana rewatched it, and man, I forgot how good of a movie and a sad movie, man,
It's sad,
that
yeah.
this is. Yeah, I felt really bad for the old man, trying to help young kids coming up, and then, he gets got like he got, and it was a really sad movie. Well done. I think it's a Martin Scorsese movie, right? Or I forget who was
No,
the
it's not a
director.
Scorsese.
No?
It's based on real story.
Right, right.
But it's not a Scorsese movie. I forgot who directed it, but the big thing was it was Pacino and Johnny Depp working together.
Right, right. Yeah, I felt really bad for Pacino. I thought I forget what his name in the movie is, Sonny
Lucky
or
or
Lucky.
Lefty or Lucky.
Yeah, Lefty sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, watching Lefty, I was just like, man, I feel bad for this old man. He's like on his way out. He's got these young crews coming up, and yeah, man, it was just a really sad movie, but really cool. I remember watching it when we were teenagers. I think we went to like Northgate at the Dollar Show and we went to go watch it, or maybe at Bensonville show. I remember it was like some cheap show we went to go see,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was good back then, and it's still good. It was just something that got us in the mood.
Lefty.
Yeah, Lefty. Yeah,
Yeah.
got us in the mood for some, like some gangster old mafia movies. So we started watching the Get Gotti on Netflix as well. And that, man, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the Get Gotti, man, that was a good little like 3-4 episode documentary. Goes through some of his uprising while he was on top of his game, and then his like eventual downfall. And really good documentary. Gets some old cops in there to give their point of view, some old mafia guys to come in there and give their point of views. And it was a really good documentary that put his rise and his fall
Yeah.
really well.
Gotti is I mean, what we know about him, what I've seen is like it's an interesting guy. Like some of the movies and stuff I've seen, they portray him as like this street, like this smart street guy. But then when you talk to the cops or when they interview like the FBI, they're like, people think he was like just a dumb, degenerate gambler who just bullied everyone, right? Like that. I don't know how they portrayed him in this documentary. I didn't even know they had a new one. But in some other movies, he's like this suave, smart street guy and shit. And then when people talk to him, like he was a degenerate gambler, he spent a lot of money. He wasn't quiet. He was like loud and like shit like that. And so I've heard these many stories about him. But I like the movie Gotti that was made by HBO in the 90s. I like to imagine Gotti was like that guy that portrayed him, Armand Asante, because that was, to
Right.
me, like that was really fucking good.
Dude, I thought that guy was Mexican. So I,
No,
I was I was trying to find the movie, and so I'm telling Lana, I'm like, yeah, we got to watch that TV movie from HBO that they did
yeah, I
um,
watch it all the time.
with the Mexican. And then she's just like, the Mexican, and then I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe he's not Mexican, but he's like Southern American or something. And she's like trying to think of what movie I'm talking about, and then finally I Google it because I'm like, I know I'm right. And I Google it, and he's not Mexican. And I'm like, oh shit, man,
I
he's
think his
Italian.
boss, De La Croche, was the actor that plays him. I think is Hispanic or Spaniard or something.
Right.
So you're
Okay.
half right, Danny.
All right. But yeah, she's just like, yeah, I like that movie too. But when you were saying the Mexican guy, it threw me off. I'm like, what the hell, Gotti movies? Is there a Mexican playing him? But
I think
yeah,
he's a lot better than Gotti's Travolta's Gotti. I watched that and I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is brutal. Like
yeah,
Travolta was trying too hard.
yeah, that one wasn't as great, and I think it played a little too much into his kid. It wasn't really about Gotti himself. It was more
Yeah.
about his son. But yeah, no, the HBO one, that's probably the best one that I've seen of Gotti's. But yeah, man, I think that's enough talk about ourselves. Let's jump into our article of the week. All right, guys. So here's an easy article here. It's from 9 to 5 Mac, and it says people with CarPlay are mostly just listening to AM and FM radio. And me, I'm a CarPlay guy. I bought this truck 2 years ago now. And one of the cool features about it is that it had CarPlay on it. You just have to connect your phone to it, and you can have Apple CarPlay. And this article kind of goes into people with CarPlay or Android Auto, or in people without. And in both cases, AM and FM beat out both, which I found very, very strange. Speaking on myself, for what my usage are, I'm usually streaming music or listening to a podcast, probably 80 to 90% of the time. And then maybe 10% of the time, I'm tuning into AM, FM radio. So I am totally the opposite of what this thing is saying. But just to give you some quick numbers, people who have neither CarPlay or Auto CarPlay or Android Auto, 67% listen to AM and FM radio, while only 9% listen to streaming musics like Pandora, Spotify, stuff like that. 4% listen to podcasts, 12 to Sirius XM radio, and 8% to others. Now, these are the people with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. 46% listen to the radio, 18% listen to streaming music services, 19 to Sirius XM, 7% to podcasts, and 10% to others. I don't know if you guys, I don't think you have it, Andy, CarPlay, and I think your car doesn't have it either, Noel. But I was just curious, regardless of what you have in your car, do you fall into this category where you're listening to AM and FM, or are you streaming music most of the time?
So I have a Bluetooth setup for my car where it's one of those that you put in the accessory, whatever, the power little outlet that you have in your car, and it syncs up with my phone via Bluetooth so I can listen to my music on the car speakers. And aside from that, every now and again in the morning, 103.5 FM, whatever Kiss FM, whatever the hell it is, they'll have like some funny stuff sometimes, like a little program that they do called Waiting by the Phone, and it's always some wild stories. But no, yeah, I don't really do anything else other than that.
What about you, Andy? Are you a radio listener, or you're streaming some music?
No, I mean, I like Noel. I got a Bluetooth set up. I usually listen to the radio on Monday, some sports talk after football, to see what the hell's going on. And then the rest of the week, I got the kid, so I usually put some music station on when I'm dropping them off, and after that, I listen to like a podcast or I'll stream something off of YouTube. But that's about it. But the article, I'm kind of shocked at the stats on how many people listen to Sirius XM and like the percentage on podcast. So if only that amount of people are listening to podcasts when they're in driving somewhere, they listen to like when they're working out or something. Um, so that, like I said, that's kind of interesting on those numbers. I thought a lot of people listen to the podcast or something when they're driving in to when they're going to work or something.
Yeah, I thought so as well, because I usually alternate back and forth between listening to podcasts or streaming music. But I usually in my drive into work, I'm listening to a podcast. It's kind of early in the morning, but then my drive home, I'm listening to some music. And yeah, man, I just found it very strange. I use all of the CarPlay features. I'll use the map. I'll do the calendar stuff on there, and I use all that stuff. To me, I found it really weird that people don't stream more music, especially because most of them are free. You know, like Pandora, Spotify. You can use all those for free, and then if you're a real music, you know, connoisseur, you could get some of those premium packages and get uninterrupted music and all that good stuff.
Well, let me ask you, what is your commute like? Like how long are your driving sessions?
Maybe that has something to do with it because my drive in and out of work are usually anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on how traffic is. So,
Okay.
so I'm in there for half an hour. So I get into whatever I'm listening to, and where maybe if it's kind of mindless from here to around the corner, you just click on the AM FM because it would be too much work to plug in your phone, too much work to dial in the Bluetooth to key in whatever service you want to use and get into the playlist and whatnot. So I could see that maybe, but yeah, no. For the most part, I plug in my phone and I start searching the playlist or podcast that I want to listen to.
Yeah, same here. No, my average, my commute's about 45 minutes. Um, I did a quick Google search. So that's from my house to my job. It's about 25 miles. So it's
Is there
50 miles a
anything?
day driving to work. So my whole commute, like one day, my commuting to work and coming back from home is 50 miles.
Oh,
And then
wow.
they said the average American commutes 41 miles a day from work to from work. So do the math. That's a little bit over 20 miles. I thought it was like around 15 to 16, but yeah, 76% of yours workers drive 41 miles a day to go to work. So it's about a little bit over 20 miles to and from work. Uh, so to me, that's about like 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, depending if you take the expressway or whatever.
Right. How far is your commute, Noel?
Oh man, like don't get mad at me, man. It's 20
Like,
minutes. It's 25 on a bad day. And it's only like a few miles up Manheim.
Right. No, man. On a good day, because I usually start at 6, so I'm usually really light traffic at that time. I could get there in half an hour. But when leaving work, if it's snowing, raining, any kind of thing, craziness like that, oh, it's a good hour drive back home. So yeah, it depends. So maybe that's where I'm kind of not the normal listener to radio and stuff like that. But I still listen to AM, like Andy mentioned, after some big event, like somebody got traded or they signed a new player. I'll tune into AM FM radio to listen to some sports and tune into what people are talking about. But yeah, for the most part, I'm streaming something. I want to play my playlist. I want to listen to my music. I don't want to just tune into 103.5 and hope they play a song that I like. So I don't know. Yeah, I usually play
Especially all
my
this
stuff.
poppy stuff
I don't
that's
think
out there, dude.
103.5 is gonna have any song that you like. Then
No, what
It's about
station
to
is
say.
that?
that's stuck the
Uh,
current crap. You'll
The
probably want
it's
to
what?
the
listen to
popular music.
104.3. You want to listen to 104.3.
Well, yeah, for sure. 104.3. Does 94.7 still play like
It's 80s and 90s now.
oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. That's
That's
not
on
bad.
my three play. It's I got 87.7. That's like the oldies, like from the 50s
Right.
and 60s.
But that one
Nine,
doesn't play that great out here.
yeah,
Sometimes I notice it's kind of staticky.
94.7. It's 80s and 90s, and 104.3. The as they call it throwbacks from
Uh,
that 90s and hip hop and all that other stuff.
did they start playing Christmas music already on
Yes,
93 point? Yeah. Wow,
they
man, cool.
started. I got the tweet. I think it was literally the when was Halloween? It was like the first Thursday after Halloween, they started playing Christmas music.
Nice, cool, man.
So
Uh,
I don't even think it was a week after Halloween. You know.
I like it, man. To me, I like the Christmas time, so you can be playing some music, and that's when maybe I'll use the radio the most because it might take a minute for me to load in everything on my phone. I'll just tune in at 93.9 and just listen to some some Christmas music.
I was I mean, real quick. I was into Christmas music, but I think I'm more into Christmas albums now. So I got like 3 albums I have saved on YouTube, and I usually just play. That's in my rotation. I don't listen to the radio no more. I just have like 3 albums that I listen to.
So what are these albums? It sounds like you don't want to tell us.
The one is the Rat Pack.
The Death Row Christmas.
Nah, man, come on, man. That maybe I'll add it this year. I'll listen to it. It's been a while. the Rat Pack, and then there's a couple VA ones like Christmas with the Crooners, and then the Jackson 5 Christmas one. It's pretty good too.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I do like that Rat Pack Christmas album. That one's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and there's like a lot of really good songs. But yeah, I can't hear Mariah Carey's fucking song like a constant loop.
Right.
They play that. They overplay that stuff like 10 years ago, and it's still going strong on these radio stations, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's the Queen of Christmas. They labeled her as.
Is
like
it
that.
because of that
Yeah.
song? Yeah, yeah, they
You know what
play it
else?
like all the time, dude.
It's underrated. The Home Alone soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one, man. They got some
It
good
is.
hits on that one, man.
It's
Yeah.
underrated, man. People need to start getting on that.
Heck yeah, man. That's usually like if honestly, if I'm looking for some good music, I usually play that soundtrack because I know that all those Christmas songs are pretty good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, a quick side note, Andy. You mentioned that you drop your kid off in the morning. Do you play any kind of gangster shit while he's in the car, or do you try to be like, like I don't want to disturb his ears. I'll play some classical Mozart shit.
Nah, that's why I only put what's on the radio. So it's the oldies,
Okay.
the 80s, 90s, and then on 104.3. They play a lot of in the morning. They play that Ghetto Superstar song a lot, and they play the Fuji song a lot, and then they don't play like really rap. They play like a lot of R&B stuff.
Okay.
And then the oldies, the 87 has some really nice oldies, and then the 94.7, they got people who think they're like Man Cow or something, and they suck. But when they play music, they play a lot of 80s stuff mostly in the morning.
Okay. No Ice Cube or Two Life Crew or anything like that.
Nah, that one maybe at night. The only thing on 104.3 on Fridays, it's a commercial-free Friday, so they don't have no commercials at all.
Nice, nice. Are you gonna be that parent that doesn't play like gangster music? Because you don't want him to hear all the swearing and.
Well, I think the gangster music when we grew up is a lot tame to what the fuck's out now.
For sure.
So I think I will play it because it's some great. That's the female rappers. They play some shit. And I'm like, God damn! And like kids are fucking singing along with this. It's crazy.
It's like they lost the ability to have shame. Like no one has shame anymore. It feels like.
They need to bring shame back, man. I think we're gonna bring it back, man. Be pointing the finger, be like, shame on you.
You gonna be ringing
shame.
the bell then? People walk down.
Got the holy water. You start agua bendita on their faces.
For sure.
Nah, man. Well, let's see what happens in the future, man. At least we have some Christmas music to look forward to. So, some nice to, bless our ears with. But that wraps everything up for today, guys. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, please follow us on Twitter at FFR Podcast. If you have any questions, any suggestions for a topic or something that you just want to ask us, send that email to drop it down at ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great Thanksgiving out there.
And we got Andy as well.
It's all good, Andy. We want to thank you guys for listening. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving, and it's going to roll into Christmas season. So awesome.
Most definitely. Gobble up that turkey, and we wish you a great night. Beautiful tomorrow.
And some tamales.
Oh, shit.
That was cool, Dad.